Hello and welcome back from the break and to another week of Hunter's Hotspot. Tonight's show is going to be filled with action. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Starting this week off, yesterday brought some much awaited news on what high school football will look like this year throughout the state of Colorado. Each high school program was given the option of playing in either fall or spring season. The deadline for the scheduling decision was required to be made early Monday morning for all high schools. CHSAA, the governing body for all high school activities throughout the state of Colorado, announced that the season being split will mean that there are co-state champions this year, one in the fall and one in the spring.
To play here. To get this underway,
when taking a look at the nearby high schools, we see that Fort Collins High School has declared for the spring season and will not be playing until March. However, Fossil Ridge, Poudre, and Rocky Mountain High Schools will all be participating in the fall season, aiming for an October start time. Fossil Ridge, Poudre, and Rocky Mountain all play in the Front Range Conference, providing some insight into why these three league rivals came to the same decision. On the other hand, Fort Collins High School just made the jump from 4A to 5A. Fort Collins is now in the 5A Metro League with Adams City, Boulder, Mountain Range, North Glen, and Westminster. Ultimately, the fall and spring season formats will be the same in terms of amount of games played, and the playoff picture structure will be the same. Teams will play 6 regular season games, and the 8 best teams will make it to the postseason. CHSAA released the revised schedule earlier today. Football is not only dangerous because of COVID-19, but because of the naturally physicality and collisions and intense way of the sport. These dangers were demonstrated in the NFL last week with continuously seeming never-ending amounts of stars going down. Some of the biggest names included star running backs Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, as well as reigning Rookie of the Year Nick Bosa. Even with the impact of those players provided on the teams, the Broncos may have been the biggest losers on Sunday. Denver entered the season without superstar pass rusher Von Miller after a freak injury in practice, which was already a huge loss. Then in week 1, cornerback A.J. Boye was placed on injured reserve due to a dislocated shoulder, and running back Philip Lindsay suffered a turf toe injury, which could leave him out for another week. But it did not stop there. On Sunday against the Steelers, the Broncos lost starting quarterback Drew Lock to a shoulder injury, which will sideline him anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks. They also lost their number 1 wide receiver in Cortland Sutton to a season-ending MCL and ACL tears. Many of Denver's most valuable players have already missed time due to injury, and they are only heading into the 3rd week. With so many key players out, Denver's once promising season may already be in jeopardy. With all of those injuries to star players, your fantasy team might be struggling. But don't worry, I have some players that you can grab off the waiver wire that can make up for it. After Saquon Barkley's injury, Dion Lewis took his place and scored a touchdown. Going into week 3, Lewis is expected to get majority of the snaps over Wayne Gallman and newly signed running back Devontae Freeman. Lewis will have a favorable matchup against the 49ers, who will be without both Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas on their defensive line for the rest of the season due to injury. Obviously, Lewis won't produce like Barkley, but he will be a suitable running back too with the workload he is expected to receive. Moving on to wide receivers now, the next player I am recommending that you take a look at is Jaguars wideout Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole is currently ranked as the 20th best fantasy receiver and is only owned by 0.3% of fantasy owners, making it almost certain that you'll be able to find him on waivers. Quarterback Gardner Minshew is spreading the love in Jacksonville and has 3 passing touchdowns in each of his last 2 games, 2 of which that were to Cole. Not to mention that the Jags are facing the Dolphins on Thursday night. The Dolphins are the 29th ranked defense, allowing Bills quarterback Josh Allen to put up over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in 2 weeks. To finish the week out, all fantasy owners need to take a look at 49ers running back Jerick McKinnon. McKinnon will be replacing Raheem Mostert as the starter for at least this week after Mostert's MCL sprain against the Jets. The Niners are also without quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, which means that they will have to run the ball even more than they already do. Head coach Kyle Shanahan also expressed concerns about San Francisco's other running back Tevin Coleman, who has a knee sprain. So it is looking like McKinnon will be the featured back for the Niners moving forward. Well, Rams, that's all I have for you tonight, but make sure to tune in tomorrow night for Laced Up. Have a safe rest of your night, and we'll see you tomorrow.